That's simple. I love Zoom. And then once it comes on, you're gonna hear me for a second, and then I'm gonna introduce you to the universe. But it'll have to like mute myself quickly.
Okay.
There. Okay. Done. Oh, that's simple. My God. I love Zoom. Okay. And then once it comes on, you're gonna hear, and now I have to shut that off. And now I go back to Zoom. And now we're on. Hi. Okay, everybody in the world, I would like you to meet our new friend, Alex. Alex is an expecting twin mom, and she has very generously offered to give us some of her time so that we could grill her on everything that's happening within her pregnancy. So you guys have already met Kylie. So Kylie is another expectant mom who, by the way, is going to give birth on Friday. So that's very exciting. And then you guys have also Chelsea and her two little tiny tots that are already here, and we are very proud to have Alex join in on the insanity that is Twiniversity. So hi, Alex, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've already been chatting, and I found out a few things that will trickle out as time goes by. But I would love if you could tell us like where you are, what your family is like, what your life is like, and how these twinnies came to be.
All right. I'm from London, Ontario, Canada, and I am married to my husband, Chris. We already have two. Amelia is almost 3.5, and Charlie is almost 1.5. They're exactly 2 years apart. We found out at week 4, maybe, that we found out we were expecting, and it was a complete shock that we were pregnant at all. It wasn't in our plans, and that's okay. Life throws us curveballs, and we kind of have to readjust sometimes. So we were just getting over, okay, we're pregnant. We can do this one more time. It's fine. It's just one more. And then when we had our dating ultrasound at about 7 weeks, we saw 2 babies in there. So we were trying to figure out the stats last night. We were using protection, and we found out that the stats for using condoms and getting pregnant is like 1 in 100. And then is it like 1 in, is it, what is it, natural birth statistic rates?
I don't actually know with protection what the natural birth statistic rate is. We're going to have to find that out. Julie, if you would look that up for us, please. She will tell us. I'm so curious about that.
I think
because now, do you know that they're fraternal or identical? Like, have they determined that yet?
They're likely fraternal. There are 2 sacs and 2 placentas.
Okay.
Most likely, and there are twins in my family, but no one really shared that with me until we found out we were having twins. So
who has the twins in your family?
My mom's mom has a half sister who has twins.
Okay.
And my dad's mom has twin siblings.
Okay.
There are a couple, they've skipped a generation, which is normal, and it comes from my side, not on my husband's side. So yeah.
So there you go. So surprise is how that goes. That's a great little surprise. So you're over the initial shock, or more, well beyond past the initial shock phase, or you're still shocked?
We're still shocked. We still shake our head and just twins that almost every day, and we're chasing after the 2 that we have already, and thinking, how are we going to do this times 4? I know you just adjust. I know you just do it, and that's what we have figured out with our second. It's just, you make time, you figure it out, and you find your routine, and it works. But yeah, it's going to be an adjustment.
Of course, an adjustment. Do you have a lot of brothers and sisters, or does your husband? Do either of you come from larger families?
Not really, a bit. Like I'm one of three and my husband's one of three. So not particularly big, but my husband's mom is one of five girls, no girls, and my husband's dad is one of six. So they come from big.
All right, that's exciting. And then after the twins, when you have your second set of twins, as I always say, then there you go. Charlie will be one of six as well. That's what I was already down. Yeah. How many weeks are you today?
I was 19 weeks last Friday, so about 19 and a half weeks.
Oh, right there. Are you going to find out the gender of the twins?
Yeah, we find out on Wednesday. Yeah, this Wednesday.
Oh, that's exciting. Are you doing any kind of big gender reveal extravaganza, or are you just going to find out and then just be like, yeah, guys, it's too bad we're having boys?
We're just going to find out. No big gender reveal. I'll probably just be on my phone all day texting my close family and friends and telling them, because we haven't been completely open about being pregnant at all.
I know, I love this. It's like your coming out party to the world. Yeah. Alex, everybody, I just want to tell you she's pregnant with twins.
Yeah. And halfway there, and we're having whatever we're having.
Oh my gosh.
So I've had a tough time really coming to terms with it. And it's been difficult. But so that's why I've kind of held back, because the other two, I was excited and kind of counting the weeks down to when I was ready to tell people. And I had like a special Facebook announcement to the extended friends and family. And this time I haven't done anything. I when I see people, it's kind of obvious that I'm pregnant. So I'm like, yeah, we're pregnant.
Well, I have an idea. I think when you are done with this today, and if you share it on your own page, I think that this would count as special. I think this is definitely a special way to let your extended friends and family know that I'm so excited for you. I really am. And the fact that it's spontaneous, I can't imagine. You know, with myself and a few other of our Mom Squad peeps, we've all had either IVF or we use some kind of fertility treatment. So there was always like it's a possibility. But with our families that spontaneously conceive, it's always like, oh, it's extraordinarily shocking. It's shocking when you know that they're putting in 2 eggs, let's say. It doesn't make it any less shocking when you find out that, yeah, everybody's going to be living in your womb for a while. Now, at 19 weeks, does it feel any different than it did with Charlie or Amelia?
Yeah, totally different.
And what? Give me like specifics. Like if you were telling your best friend that just found out that she was pregnant with twins, what would you say? Oh, here are the differences.
There were differences like right from the get-go that even before we had the dating ultrasound at 7 weeks, made me think there might be twins, because with my first two, I had about maybe a week and a half of light nausea in the morning. I was never particularly sick. And this time around, like I was sick from morning until night, and I couldn't touch food. I was just like really nauseous. I wasn't physically sick. And I ended up having to have the diclectin that you go on to kind of calm it down, because I was waking up in the middle of the night and I was sick. So that was one major thing. And I was way more tired than I was with my singletons. And then the thing that kind of tipped me off a bit more was, I think it was like 6.5 weeks, I was feeling like a lot of, the little stretching pains, like the I don't know if it's called round ligament pains, yes. But when you look it up, it says your uterus is stretching, and yes. Those kind of pains, it kind of felt crampy, like I was getting my period. And I thought, okay, why do I need to stretch anymore? I'm thinking I've already done this twice. I don't need to be feeling this stretching pain. What more does it have to grow? And then this light bulb went off in my head, like, oh my gosh. I think I think maybe there's two. And I said something to my husband and he's like, don't talk about it. We'll figure
That's the response. Don't talk, don't say it out loud. You'll bring them upon us. That's crazy. Oh, but you knew it. You had a hunch. It felt different.
I had a hunch, but it didn't help when the ultrasound tech told me there was two. And having that earlier hunch did not lighten the news at all. And since then I've just been really sick and really tired. The sickness kind of trailed off. I took the medication for about a month, and I stopped it maybe 2.5 or 3 weeks ago. And since then I've had like very light nausea that comes and goes, but it's not like I was dealing with before. So
are you gaining appropriately? Like, are you gaining what you're supposed to, or the doctor is happy with that? Because with the nausea, if it's tough to eat, it's tough to gain. So what's going on with that?
In the first 15 weeks, maybe, I lost like 5 pounds. And I'm not worried really about gaining weight because I gained sufficiently with my first two. And this time around, like I know that you need to gain the most of your weight before the 20-week mark.
Yes.
And I think I've been staying on track. I had my last appointment was about almost 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So having the one on Wednesday, I'll get an update on that. But I think I'm on. Yeah, he's not worried. I'm not worried.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that you're not worried about it, because it is. I mean, especially with, morning sickness is very, very common. And like you said, I'm glad that you said that, because a lot of people don't realize that it is stronger. But if you have a singleton pregnancy to compare it to, then you wouldn't know that, oh yeah, this is something. So for those of you that have twins that have never had a singleton, know that next round it's going to be easier. So don't worry about that. We'll give them hope on that. So now, so your husband was with you at the appointment when you found out that there was the second little heartbeat there?
He was in the waiting room at the ultrasound, because they don't let you in until the last 2 minutes or let partners in. So I found out on my own, had my own cry, and kept questioning the tech, like, are you sure? And he showed me, we saw the 2 heartbeats. My husband came into the room, and the first thing he said, which to be fair is the first thing he said with the other 2, was, okay, is there 1 or 2? And the tech turned around and he said 2. And my husband look at me of
oh my gosh,
horror almost.
Exactly. Well,
I said, he's not kidding. You can cry. It's okay. So just because we weren't expecting it. So yeah. He was there for moral support.
What about telling the kids? Like, Amelia's big enough. Like Charlie, I don't think he's going to realize he's kind of a baby, but do they realize what's going on, or do they see your belly growing and ask questions, or is nobody really noticing anything?
Amelia definitely. She asks about my tummy all the time, and says, "Mommy, I know your tummy is hurting because I need to rest a lot. I know your tummy's hurting. You should just lay down." So she recognizes that. And when we first told her, I don't think we told her until 13 weeks, because we were concerned about anything happening, and still weren't comfortable with it ourselves. So we didn't really sit her down and tell her. It just kind of came out like, she said to me one day, "Mommy, is there a baby in your tummy?" And I said, "Well, maybe." and then she just let it go. And then it was a couple days later, she said, Mommy, that is that baby in your tummy growing? And I said, actually, there's 2 babies. And her face just lit up like,
Oh,
2 babies.
she's so lucky.
Yeah, she's really pumped, and she's been asking about going to the hospital, and just kind of when they're supposed to come out and everything. So they're due November 10th. That's the 40-week mark. So I've just been keeping October open, really.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Very, very smart. That's a good idea. Now, did you start feeling them sooner than you did with your singletons?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like, how did that happen? Like, when was the first time that you felt them?
I think, and probably medical opinions would say otherwise, but I think I felt them at like 10 weeks. Like I felt tiny flutters. And I had it confirmed because when we went for an ultrasound, I felt a flutter like as soon as I saw something on the screen too. And that was at 12.
So you saw it happening. You saw it happening live.
Yeah, when I was.
All right, that's early. That's good. But your body knows what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So for, a more experienced mom, that flutter isn't just gas.
Right.
Like a lot of times I think, look, I'm sorry that the dog has decided to roll over. She's making herself part of the thing. She's got to get comfortable. I know I never had a dog that she sleeps upside down. I don't know any. I've never seen another dog. She's out cold too, by the way. She's gone. So
yeah,
she left, this crazy beast. So you started feeling them earlier, which is fantastic. And now, do you find that they're more active in one part of the day than another?
Not really. I guess no, all throughout the day. I feel them now all the time. And I'm sitting at my computer for stretches of like for periods of time throughout the day, and I feel them quite a bit. And I feel them separately, which is really cool too, because at first you have no idea, but now I know for sure it's different than a singleton pregnancy, because I feel one place and I feel the other 10 centimeters away. So yeah, it's really cool to feel them. And I will be honest, I don't love being pregnant. My other pregnancies were really tough on me, and that's one reason I was kind of devastated to be pregnant too. Not that I love my kids, and but being pregnant is really tough on my body, and the one shining light in it is that I can feel them. I love feeling them. So that's what gets me through.
So now let's just talk about your health concerns for a minute, because I'm just absolutely fascinated by this. So now you have lupus, and when were you diagnosed with that?
I was diagnosed spring of 2010 with 2010 with lupus. So I've known about it for about 7 years, but it took maybe 4 or 5 years to get diagnosed.
Okay.
Because it's a tougher one to figure out. So when I had that diagnosis, I was really worried that I would have trouble carrying a baby.
Of course.
Of what I guess medical history has shown. Yeah. So
now tell, what's the background on lupus? If nobody has ever heard of it before, what are the things, what made you even start getting, going to doctors to get this diagnosis?
I had a lot of abdominal pain, and I would call them episodes where, and I'm not sure now if, I also have PCOS, which I mentioned before. It was a cyst bursting, and so they're kind of overlapping. But I would have episodes if I ate, say, greasy food. If I had gone out, it wasn't just food poisoning. I'd be out for a few days, hunched over. I couldn't walk. But the final factor that sent me to a rheumatologist, because I was sent for testing for endometriosis, for GI problems, for bladder problems, everything that you can think of. And then it wasn't until I got back from a trip with my husband, that was our first trip together.
Okay.
And I had really severe joint pain, and it felt like I had been hit by a bus over and over, and it didn't ease up. And so that was the red flag that sent me to my rheumatologist and got me finally done. So
Oh my
it's
gosh.
under control though, so that's great.
Well, what do you have? Do you have to do anything differently in a pregnancy because of these issues, or is it pretty much, every day's average? Like, is there anything that you have to watch out for?
Not particularly. No, I got the green light from my rheumatologist 6 months before I got pregnant with my daughter, Amelia. And then I went back and saw him again before I got pregnant with Charlie. So he kind of monitors my symptoms and tells me if I'm okay to go ahead, because they don't want me to be pregnant while I'm in a flare-up.
Okay.
So I just have to take medication daily.
Okay.
And it's safe, according to my rheumatologist, safe to take throughout my pregnancy. And I just feel more tired with it, and I have a bit more joint pain. So I've had pelvic, like my hips are sore, and I had really bad pelvic pain with Charlie. So I don't know, all these symptoms range. It's a whole combination of things. So yeah, just have to be.
Now, as far as working goes, are you working through your pregnancy, or what's your daily schedule like? So if you are, more uncomfortable and you got to rest more, what's the real world like?
It's pretty good. I'm a realtor, and I also supply teach very part-time, secondary school. So I've been supply teaching maybe once a week, and those are the days I get very tired because I just have to go.
Okay.
Being a realtor though, I can kind of control my own appointments and schedule throughout the day. So I do have someone that covers for me if I need to, if I need to have him. So far I haven't had to yet. He's just been there, so I know I have someone. But yeah, it's okay because I can do what I can do. I can kind of monitor that myself.
You're very, very, very fortunate. I gotta imagine that in your condition, and that even just expecting twins, it's not easy, for God's sakes.
The first few months finding out, my business was a lot quieter, and I kept saying I think it was because I had all this negative energy inside, and I was projecting it out and kind of pushing clients away. Like, I'm not ready to work right now. And it worked for me, to be honest. And so now things are picking up a little bit because I'm feeling a bit too. So
very, very good. So you'll be doing more showings and taking on more. Yeah, it's a lot. Is it a busy time there as it is here? Like, everybody's buying house stuff at the time of year, renting.
Yeah, it's been a very busy market here. People call it crazy, but it's a crazy good. It's good.
Listen, it's always good to be busy, right? Now, where are the kids right now?
They go to daycare, like a home daycare, 4 days a week, and then I have them home with me 1 day a week, in anticipation of working one of the weekend days. So they're going to be home with me on Friday this week, but the rest of the days, I drop them off at 8:30 in the morning and pick them up at 4:30.
Well, that's definitely going to help once the twins get here to have them someplace. But then also just being raised in a little pack, they're already used to being in a pack at daycare. So they're used to there being a lot of kids and, not being able to have you to themselves. Well, not that they didn't initially, but, it's sometimes if you're home by yourself with them for months and months, and then the twins get here, they're like, what's going on? Yeah. So it's perfect. Good for you. That's great. That's really, really great. I'm glad that you have that. Now, what are you going to do to prepare coming up? So like, what's the next month look like for you? Like, okay, we got to get this done. We got to get this done. What about doctor's appointments? Like, what happens now? So we're going to find out the gender of the babies. What do you think it is, by the way?
Well, my last, it was like a small ultrasound where they bring the portable machine in.
Okay.
And I am pretty sure that I saw one of them, baby A, I think was a girl or is a girl. But who knows? I'm like 85% sure. I'm not a professional.
But are you 85% sure because of what you saw with your eyes, or do you just have an intuition that it's a girly?
With what I saw with my eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them. So the other one, baby B, was like tucked into baby A. So I didn't get to see anything. So I have a feeling that it's either a boy and a girl, or a girl and a girl. So it would be really nice if it were a boy and a girl, because then Charlie could have his brother and Amelia could have his sister, and I wouldn't have as matchy clothes, but it would be really nice. And my Charlie is such a cuddler. He like, I was worried all the time about having a boy before I had him, and he's changed my opinion completely. So
good. Thank you, Charlie. For all boys everywhere. That's what we say. Thank you. Yes, I think a lot of women think that. They're just like, oh, my little girl. I think my son significantly, even now at 12, I think he's much snugglier than she is. Although now he's getting to that age, like he doesn't want to kiss me. And I'm like, nope, sorry. If you want to eat dinner, give me a kiss right here. And he's like, fine. But I'll take it. You'll be there soon enough. Don't worry about it. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so what's coming up this month? What's the plan?
I'm not really sure. That's what I'm struggling with, is the planning part. And that's what I guess hurts me the most, because number one, finding out unexpectedly that we're pregnant. I am a planner. So having that happen, I was like, this is not in my plans. But I have a doula who I absolutely love, and her name's Crystal. She was my doula when I had Charlie. I wasn't smart enough with Amelia to have a doula at that point. And because I already have had high-risk pregnancies having lupus, in Canada, I'm not allowed to have a midwife. So having a doula, someone to look after me, was a way around that. Yes. So this time I have the same doula, and she's actually coming by Thursday night, and we're going to start planning. I'm really not sure over the next month. I have my cousin's wedding coming up that I'm in. So that's one thing. And I don't know, we just bought a car this weekend, an Odyssey.
Congratulations.
Thanks. So that's part of it, I guess. We picked that up Thursday. So it's control. We have the car seats. We need to pick up the crib, an extra crib. And probably at the beginning of August, we're going to get Amelia and Charlie's bunk beds set up. And then once they're set up in their room, then we can start working on the nursery. So I'm looking at August as my nursery time. That's really all I have. I'm not quite sure yet. We have some supplies, some that we need, like high chairs, and because we have the other two.
Yes. So you already had two. So you didn't just keep the one and then let Charlie use it. You have actually two. So you're really ahead of the game then.
Yeah, well, we bought two new used high chairs that are the Peg Perego ones, or Peg.
Perfect. Yes.
So we bought those, and we sold our car seat before because we weren't planning on any others.
Of course, that happens. That's all right.
So we ended up buying the same one used for what we sold the other one for, and then we got us. So we have two of the same ones there. Okay.
So Charlie's getting evicted. He's getting a roommate. Amelia's getting a roommate. Charlie's being evicted from his crib, and they're going to have their own room.
Yes.
Perfect. Why not? That's it. The more the merrier. I'm glad you're not like, okay, now we got to start looking at a house for ourselves. So you're staying put where you are.
Yeah, we actually moved in October. We bought a house and we renovated it for a month, and we moved in November. So it only have 3 bedrooms. So we'll have 2 kids each sharing a room, but we have it like a bonus room, I guess you call it in the States. And yeah, that bonus room we use as our like playroom and office. So down the road, we might have to evict ourselves from the office and use that as an extra room. But we love our house and our neighborhood, so we're staying. That's
Perfect. That's non-negotiable. Well, I'm sure as a realtor that you found a good location with good schools. I know that if anybody has good places to live, it's always my friends that are realtors. Well, that's really good. Well, you do have a few things to do. It's not too nerve-wracking. You've done this twice before. It is a little bit different, and I can't wait as like your pregnancy progresses to see how different it is, not just physically, but in the preparation. And, because since you do have to rest more and you're already feeling it more, you may not be able to be like, okay, well, let's go buy nursery furniture, or let's, go buy little things for the walls. And I can't wait to find out how, like, if you create a plan on delivery day and when the kids could come and meet the twins and how, so there's a lot that we have coming up. But I will definitely let you go. I feel bad because I know that I take up too much time, but I could literally sit here for hours and ask questions because I want to know everything. I also want to know about like hospitals in Canada and your doctor system. Like I am fascinated by that whole thing. So yes, as our time together goes on, and I would like to, if you're willing, to check in with you about once a month, if that's cool.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah, I would love that because I think by maybe towards the end, even a little bit sooner, because I know with Kylie, I'm like, I want to call her since she's having the babies on Friday. I want to speak to her before then. So that's what we'll plan for now is once a month, and then know that we are always here. Like you have my number now, so you could text me even if it's in the middle of the night, if there's something that you're reading that's driving you crazy. But we want to invite you to our Twiniversity class. And by any chance, do you happen to have a copy of our book, What to Do When You're No?
I did have it like right beside me, but yeah, I just.
You don't have to have it beside you. I just want to know, do I have to send you that? What's my homework? Okay, good. As long as you have that, that makes me very, very happy. And have you reached out to your local twins club?
Yeah, I joined it's the London Multiple Births Association. So I joined them, I think in my first month, because I was like, I don't even know what to do. And I went to a multiple picnic with them, and
good.
Yeah, that was quite an experience to see all of the same kids. But I thought it was important for Amelia to come and see that, and she didn't notice as much as I thought she would that there were a lot of the same looking babies around, but she had fun. So
well, listen, she's going to have fun. She's going to have double the fun. We did have a question that came in, if you are willing, and they want to know that why you chose a doula. So because we already said that you had some health concerns, and it was a way kind of around the midwife. But what else does she do for you, and why should a twin parent strongly consider having a doula?
I recommend having a doula to everyone now that I talk to, because after Amelia, I found that at least going in, I had the prenatal education classes. I read a lot, so I felt like I knew enough going into it. But in the hospital, I didn't feel like I was looked after enough. I felt like it was all about the babies, or the baby at that point. And I really wanted someone to hold my hand and tell me that it was all going to be okay. And with me at that point, I had my husband, Chris, and I had my mom, Sally, and they were a great support team, but they didn't know enough about the process to support me in the way that I needed. So I thought, okay, next baby, I'm definitely having a doula. And she answered all of the things that I needed. She supported not just me, she supported Chris and my mom. And so much so, for example, when the point to having a doula with my second was that I was really focused on having an unmedicated delivery with Charlie. I had an epidural with Amelia, and I wanted an unmedicated one because I thought that would help breastfeeding be more successful. And it was, not because of that, I don't think, and then maybe it helped, but I was really focused on having that. And I didn't think I could do it by myself. And I needed someone to push me. So she did. She was there for me and Chris. And when I was in labor, I was having my moment where I was entering or in transition. And my mom stepped out of the room and was like, I can't see this anymore. I can't do it. And Crystal followed her and said, it's okay. Like, we're on the downward slope. Yeah. She's there. And that calmed my mom down, and she was more able to support me. And that was really important. So she was able to come back in, everyone could be there. And within, I think, an hour of that transition, I had Charlie. So besides that care before birth and during birth, she was there after, spent a day with me and folded my laundry and hung out with me, helped me breastfeed. And she gave me a ton of resources too that I wouldn't have had otherwise, like international board approved lactation consultant to help me find out that Charlie had a tongue and lip tie, which was holding him back breastfeeding. So those kind of things that were never pointed out to me with Amelia.
Yes.
So,
you know, it's fascinating because something that kind of was brought up to Julie and I at the last trade show that we went to was somebody was saying that, you know, when you have a baby, it's the only time that you're in a hospital where a patient is supposed to take care of another patient. And so what a doula does is a doula could kind of facilitate that relationship between, you know, you that just gave birth, and then also kind of speaking the medical team lingo to say, okay, well, here's what's happening and here's the support that she needs. And they know all kind of those, like, you know, tips and tricks, especially if they are a local doula and have been working with people in that hospital for a long time. So if I had another set of twins or even a singleton, I would definitely have a doula. But I do think that not all doulas are created equal. I think that doulas are one of those situations where personal referrals play a big role versus like a Yelp review, or, you know, if this person was a doula to the stars, let's say. I think that it's, if you know somebody that had a doula and had a good experience, I would call them first and foremost, because there's definitely, you know, there's different levels of doulaness. And even the people at the top just may not be your cup of tea and may not, you know, fit the bill for you and your family. So I'm happy that you have her, and I'm very excited because I want to know more about that relationship, and I want to know how she helps you prepare, and if it's a way that we could help kind of bring even doulas into the spotlight, because here in New York City, I'm a very big advocate for them in general. I think, and especially, I mean, you're lucky that you have your family around you. There's a lot of people, you know, even military families, let's say, that have nobody around them, and maybe their spouse is deployed. So it's great to have some kind of organic relationship like that with somebody that could really, you know, look out for you. So thank you very much for answering their question, and we will see you in a few weeks. Or do you have any questions that are pressing, like today? Like you're like, oh my God, Nat, I got to know about this by the end of the day. So shouldn't just be asking you all the questions. I'm starting to feel guilty.
Yeah. I think you asked me what my plan was for the next month. Would you have any recommendations on what I should be thinking about over the next month? Because that's what I feel really lost in, is coming up with a calculated plan. You can plan for the leading into labor and delivery part, but when it comes to all the stuff you need, or being prepared in other ways, what would you suggest? I guess it would be from week 20 to 24.
Well, you don't have to worry about your hospital tour. because you've already been on that. I maybe would take a refresher on infant CPR.
Okay.
And maybe have your mom do the same.
Yeah.
I would make sure that your moms and your husband and anybody else who's going to be around the kids, I would make sure that their vaccines are up to date.
Yep.
That's another thing, because that may take 4 weeks or whatever to get appointments with doctors. I would know what you're going to have to buy. So maybe do an inventory of what you have and say, okay, we know we have this crib, adios, Charlie, we're taking this. Maybe you want to buy a new mattress. Maybe you have to really look at what you have. And even though you have it, maybe, maybe the crib, the spindles are a little bit loose, or maybe the wheels need tightening. So if there's anything like that that has to be done, I would arrange for that. If you're painting a room, clearly just get that done. And even if the kids are in it, just pretend that you're moving, which you just did. So you could get that ready. Another thing that I would do is if somebody's going to have a party for you, I would try to guilt somebody into doing that probably at around 30 weeks. So maybe a little bit sooner, maybe between 28 and 30. So if that's going to happen, who's ever watching this, maybe they want to send out invitations at least 3 weeks ahead of time. So that I would do, just throwing that out there, guys. And then really just do kind of an inventory, not only of stuff, but of your family. What do you want to do before they get here? Do you want to have, Amelia learn to ride a bike? Do you want to help, Charlie write a C with a pencil? Should he be, holding a fork this way? What are the things that you would like to get done while you are still just a family of 4, not a family of 6? Because they will be here, so it's inevitable, right? And also we could say things like drink your water and eat your food, but that's all like a given. Like you should be drinking, the gallon of water a day. You should be shooting 4 or 5 meals a day, tons of protein, all that jazz. But like the little things, like what do you want to get done before they get here? Maybe you want to do a family art project, and maybe you want Charlie and Amelia to make a painting for the baby's room. So while the nice outside, I sometimes have a good idea, Alex. It happens. I tell Julie I get 2 a day. Now I lost 1. But something that makes them feel involved in the process instead of being like, okay, you're a daycare. I'm doing everything in the back end. What could you do as a family? Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do to prepare? Are you going to help me clear out this toy bin now? And we're going to see what toys are going to be put away for the babies, because we could put them up the attic for now, but maybe we don't need to have everything out. When you could just sit there with a cup of tea and, be a good director for the kids. Yeah. So anything that needs to get done, maybe any kind of regulation, like if you have to modify bedtime or bath time, I would start doing it slowly instead of it like right before the babies get here. So any changes that you think may need to happen in your house, it's not bad to just start sooner. And then everybody is in the flow. A little quick thing that you probably have already done, I would make sure you have a waterproof mattress cover on your bed. Okay, so you have that from the older kids. A lot of people never think about that. But like little things like that, there's not so much that you can do as far as the babies go. As you could just eat and drink and rest, and that's pretty much it. But all the other stuff, everybody's like, oh, we'll wait to do this. Don't wait to do anything. If the nursery is 100% complete by 28 weeks, that's not bad. That's a great thing to happen. So try to think of what has to get done. Make your lists because you have some time, so it's not like a panic. But by our next talk, we'll at least have to have a plan in place. But within the next month, know what has to be done. That's it.
Okay. That sounds great. Thank you.
Sometimes I get good ideas, not all the time. But if you need anything, like I said, from now till then, you just tell me and I am here. And I appreciate you very, very much. And I'm very thankful that you let us into your family. Now, if our families do want to find you and they want to follow along before we see you next, where could we find you?
I've started an Instagram account that I'm going to be adding to. I have taken some I guess bumpies, they call them. Yes. I've taken some bumpies along the way. I've missed like the last 2 or 3 weeks, which my mom is probably not very happy about. But I'll post those up and ultrasound pictures and things along the way. I like sharing, but I don't have anything on there yet. So anyone can find me at and twins makes 4. So 4.
Julie will throw that up. Jewel, if you could put that link in, that would be fantabulous. So I have another thing that I thought about that you may want to do. I don't know how far in advance you may want to do this, but I would do a pregnancy photography shoot, and I would do it with the kids.
Okay.
And so I would, and sometimes the reason why I say do this, like start looking now, is sometimes photographers will sell you like a package, and they'll be like, okay, we'll do, you know, bump pictures and family portraits, but then when the babies get here, we'll do a newborn photo shoot. So
Right.
see, sometimes it's cheaper, instead of just saying, oh, I know I want to do this later. Maybe you want to set that up and say, okay, by, you know, 32 weeks would be ideal, because you could still stand comfortably, hopefully, and you're still pregnant enough that you have a nice bump in your pictures. So that's the other thing that I would start looking for if you haven't thought about that. But you got to take pictures of your belly. You're never going to believe it. Even if you did it with your singletons, you are never going to believe the transition that your body is going to go through, and it's all going to be fantastic. It may not be the most comfortable of transitions, but you know, some of the best roller coasters jostle you around too, and it's the most fun. So you just will take, you'll be okay, I promise. And don't forget, you know where to find us if you need us. All right, my love?
Okay.
All right, Alex, I will see you in 1 month's time.
Okay. Thank you, Nat.
You got it, girl. See you later, alligator.
Bye.